We're starting off high.
We can get
I think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
no, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I am your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
That's me.
That's you.
That's me. I think.
You know, they keep messing up the damn video setting on this, and it's just irritating the shit out of me. All right, it's all fixed. We're good. What's going on, sir? You know, you threatened me that you were going to be here today, and...
I did. Man, shit's real.
I get it.
Shit's real out here, man.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Right? What can you do? Keep on scratching and surviving.
Good times.
What's going on? How your week been?
I've been all right. This week's been a little much, but you know, you get to a certain point in your career, and it's, I mean, anywhere you got to deal with haters. That's what I'm dealing with this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haters.
People that would rather go whine to HR than have a conversation. And by the way, no wrongdoing, nothing wrong. Just don't like the way that, you know, I am calling out the fact that they are not doing their jobs. And they find it offensive. But I've done so in such a polite and congenial way that everybody else is like, no, Reggie's done everything fine. So I'm just dealing with, like, noise in the background. And it's just irritating the shit out of me. Because you know me, like, I don't tolerate that shit. One, I don't tolerate people who can't do their jobs. And two, I can't tolerate somebody that can't have a conversation in person. Let me remind folks of about 3 years ago when I was fired via text message from a coaching standpoint. And I put him on blast to the point that he didn't make it through the next season. Do not play this game with me. I play it better. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
It's one of those things, man. It's just irritating. That's all it is. It's just noise. Like, and
Shit, if it's just noise, you just hit the mute button.
Absolutely. Well, no, and that's basically what I did, because my boss had a conversation with me about it, assured me, like, you didn't do anything wrong. You're fine. And I'm like, but it's irritating me. I'm like, I'm going to take the next 2 afternoons off. She's like, that's probably a good idea. Just do that because you haven't taken any time off in the last 2.5 months. I'm like, no, because there's a job to do, and I'm getting irritated with motherfuckers that do take time off and don't do their job. That's why. All right. Enough talk about work. You got any adverts to get us going?
I don't know. I don't know if I have any verts. I had some things I was thinking about. Is that, I guess. So maybe I might have one.
You might have one. What you got?
So I was thinking about it, like, I can't remember what the last word was, but it was like how basically in general how Webster's has the issue putting, what would you call, like slang words in the dictionary. But then when you think about it, it's like you changed all the words when you came over from England anyway.
Right.
Or from Europe, you know what I'm saying? You cut words down, took out extra letters, did all this. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what would really be the difference of the way you rewrote certain words than adding a few what's the word, synonyms or you know what I'm saying, like just throw them in the small letters up under. You know, but it's like, damn, like I think even a part of that, like even a part of the dictionary is just like it's just so, I don't know, it lacks culture, I guess. Like, you know, like I don't know how to describe what I'm thinking, but it's like throw them motherfuckers in there, like spice this bitch up some.
You just mean like slang words, like just throw them in there to.
Not like, you know, crazy ones, but ones that like are.
I mean, they do add like several every year.
Do they?
They do. Now, how long they stay there is another question, but I mean, they do add them every year.
Oh, they take them out?
I mean, I'm sure there are words that are no longer relevant. Like, I bet you on fleek ain't in there anymore. I bet
half of the motherfucking words in that dictionary are irrelevant.
I mean, maybe that's a future episode where maybe that's a future episode where we just read the dictionary. If we ever get, you know, that down in the dumps, then we read the dictionary and say, nope, this one could go.
No, I ain't about to sift through the dictionary for.
I'm gonna need examples. You're gonna have to cite examples for me to take you up on that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I guess I kind of probably should have.
I mean, if the argument is there's irrelevance in there, you know.
I felt like
I mean, we might as well put Raider in there because the Raiders have been irrelevant for years.
I know your Buffalo Bill ass ain't talking.
Yeah, but Buffalo have been relevant, you know.
I ain't been relevant.
Where the Buffalo roam, and you know,
they're just now starting to try to become. There ain't no relevance in Buffalo. In nothing, in no sports.
I'm trying to think like what words could be just considered irrelevant at this point that are dictionary staples.
I don't even really feel like irrelevant.
Irrelevant? Irrelevant's not relevant anymore, is it?
Irrelevant's always relevant.
That seems counterintuitive.
Sometimes you gotta go back to go forward.
That's true.
I don't know. It's an incomplete thought because Yeah, it's just an incomplete thought. I do have some thoughts on that. I might have to get back to that and finish that thought and represent.
Finish that thought. The relevancies.
I don't know about that, but
you don't know.
No.
I had an inadvertent this week, and it's probably gonna get me in trouble, but fuck it. For some reason, Kanye's Gold Digger came on the radio. And something about the line, baby mama car crib is bigger than his. I don't know. It just hit me sideways this week. 18 years. One of your kids got you for 18 years.
You rolled the dice. That's on you.
Supposed to buy your shorty Tyco with your money.
Listen. You a fucking fool. I know that. I know that fucking much.
I turned that shit up, man. I'm like, yeah. Holla, we want prenup. Should have listened to my mom. Should have listened to her. You know, another lesson that, you know, if you would have listened to mom, things would have been better.
Oh, yeah. This motherfucker is spicy.
The Reets. She was right. Love you, mom.
Spicy. Listen, you always trust your mama.
Well, you're supposed to, except when you're too young to believe that. Wish I could go back a decade.
That's what that is. Is that what that is?
You know, what are you gonna do? Shit. So any other relevant song lyrics as of late?
That's a good one. Relevant song lyrics.
I mean, my other personal favorite that's popped up a little bit recently, and it's again, this relates more back to the work scenario. Hit him up, Tupac. First off, fuck you, bitch, in the clique you claim.
Relevant song lyrics. No. Nothing comes to mind.
I'm trying to think if there's been anything else that kind of popped on the shuffle. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I did get Andrew. Andrew did ask to turn up California Love today, so that was nice.
I used to love that song back in the day when I was a kid, too.
No doubt.
Let me find out. Andrew don't know nothing about no damn California Love.
Hey, man, bringing them up on the classics.
You got to. If you don't, who else will?
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
I feel like something's in my eye. I had some questions.
What questions you got?
I had some questions about this title.
Okay.
Well, not the title, but the topic.
The topic, post-apocalyptia, run by the fools.
First of all, in order for me to know how did it all end?
How did it all go down? That's a good question. So we've got a couple. We've got a couple of options here.
Not options.
So one is it's the E-bombs world and kind of what we told about mutually assured destruction, post-nuclear, nuclear fallout. So where most of the population is wiped out by radiation, and then you're dealing with whatever that does to the world.
Right.
The other option is the more likely option, which is the fallout of the resource wars, where water and food has become so scarce that we degrade as a society and everything is focused on that. I'm trying to think. The other one would be like a natural disaster. Meteor, cloud, basically another ice age. Although I'm not sure an ice age takes us out at this point and takes us post-apocalyptic. Maybe it's Planet of the Apes style, and it is maybe it's pandemic, global pandemic. So basically everything they were scared of with COVID, but it's real this time, and it does wipe out 70-80% of the population. I like that one because I feel like the reason I like that one is that it leaves the infrastructure intact largely. Whereas like nuclear fallout or, well, I guess a resource war would too. A lot of the infrastructure is still intact.
I guess I was thinking along the lines of starting from scratch too.
Yeah. So no infrastructure?
I think I was thinking along the lines of, like you said, like the whole nuclear shit, ice age.
Okay. So
do the opposite of a ice age,
like global warming, and it's just a desert planet. This is like Dune now. This is Arrakis.
Or the ice caps melt and everything's underwater now.
Oh, we're going Kevin Costner and Waterworld. All right.
Waterworld.
A postman leading the nation.
All would be tough, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be in a position to be able to survive that situation.
True.
And that's one I couldn't afford, you know what I'm saying? I would be out of there for sure. But I feel like
you're resourceful though. Like I feel like shit goes to shit. Like you're going to survive. I used to say that about.
Yeah, if I survive the shit
the initial
you know
shit.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that was always my line about Carl. I always said Carl would find a way to survive too.
Listen, you gotta survive the shit in general. Cause like you said, if it's strong enough to take out 70-80% of the world, what make you special?
Well, I mean, it could just come down to genome, blood type, if it's pandemic type stuff. If it's resource wars, it's right place, right time. Nuclear fallout, again, it's really right place, right time.
Right.
There probably are untouched sections of the world at that point. Pandemic's just the one that goes fast. Like we saw how fast COVID became a global thing.
Right.
Like 3-4 months, maybe 6 months, boom. Even if it's fatal, half the population wiped out, the infrastructure doesn't stay long after that. And what's interesting is that if you talk about infrastructure from a like buildings, roads, that kind of stuff, that shit lasts maybe 10 years before nature overgrows it. Probably 50 years and you actually see like buildings and shit collapse from like undergrowth and that kind of stuff.
Right. The only reason why I say the way I thought is because if you thinking like with infrastructure still remaining, then all you're really saying is a restart of the government. You know what I mean? Restart of, there's always going to be that governing body regardless of how you choose to govern. But if everything's wiped out, you kind of go back to square one.
Right.
You know, you go back to the hunter-gatherer kind of society for a while there.
Yeah. True.
Now, I mean, as far as plans would go, yeah, in those situations, it's really quite simple. You're you're back to tribalism. You're back to being in a tribe, but your tribe isn't necessarily your ethnic background.
It's locale.
Right. It's the people that are around me I'm surviving with.
Yeah.
Almost like the army.
It's geographic at that point.
Right.
I mean, okay. So what's the scenario we're going with here?
You tell me. You tell me.
I've got it's a toss up between natural disaster and pandemic. I mean pandemic to me just seems like it's feasible. Based on what we witnessed in the last 3 years. And it's, something new that like we can't figure out, or it's something that's engineered so that it hits a larger piece of the population, but we can't figure out how to reverse engineer it.
Right.
I mean, that's the I Am Legend one, right? Like where
they
develop something to cure cancer, but because it's actually a virus, the virus mutates and we can't stop it. But you still have people that are immune just at some level. So that's like Walking Dead style. Except you don't have zombies.
Right, that's what I was about to say. That situation wouldn't really have zombies, so at that point, I mean, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're always going to have that tribalism, right? Because the number one issue that you're going to have in a situation like that is lack of resource.
Well, yes, lack of access to resources.
Right.
I actually think in all of these scenarios, except maybe nuclear fallout, resources are actually probably more abundant at that point because there's less people to contend with. But to your point, it's geographically locked. All right, so the pandemic wipes everybody out, and we fast forward 5 years. 5 years after, like, the people that are left are the people who are immune.
Right.
Where are you setting up? And are you setting up? Are you living a loner life? What are you doing?
First of all, I gotta go west.
Go west, young man. Haven't you been told?
Yeah, I gotta go west just for resources.
Okay.
Like, there's not enough wild shit out here that you can live off of on the land.
I feel like Ohio has plenty of wild.
Has some deers. You might be able to track some deers.
And deer without hunters become overpopulated pretty quick. Better get used to that venison, baby.
See, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you helped me out. I didn't even think about that.
Are you staying and trying to keep up an urban setting? Or are you going out to the woods? Or some rural?
I would probably have to go somewhere rural.
I'm thinking like outskirts, like almost like suburbs. Like I want enough of the infrastructure still there, but Woodlands isn't too far away either.
See, nah, I'm not even really. I need somewhere off the beaten trail.
Okay, so you want to go off of what's left of the grid at that point.
And somewhat, it could be like a right under your nose scenario.
Okay.
Like I don't need to be way out, like
you're out in like Sunbury.
Yeah, I'm not depending, yeah, because I mean, like you said, if food is gonna be a little bit more abundant.
I mean, they got deer over by Easton. I mean,
Yeah, there is some deer. There is some deer around here.
I used to see them on my my morning walks at the office. The REIT's in the chat. Chime and come to the island. I don't know if there's enough food on the island. That's my problem. Depends how many people we got there. What the food's. Man, seafood. I guess we could become fishermen. I guess I could get used to eating fish.
And then there would only be a few people on the island.
But it's a defensible position.
But what do you have to defend from?
I mean, people trying to take your shit. Although if it's on an island, is it even worth trying to like storm the island? Like there's probably more leftover resources on the mainland.
That's what I'm saying. If there's still only 20% of people, it ends up being one of those situations where it's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's not worth it to take any of that, because at this point the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the material shit, the vanity is worthless.
Yeah.
It's just about your actual needs, your resources, the things you actually need. And if it's just as abundant out there for you as it is for me, it's actually less work on you to try to go against me and take mine.
Yeah.
Just
handle your own.
Kill a deer, right?
Well, what's always interesting is when you see shows like The Walking Dead and that kind of stuff, like, what do they spend half the episodes doing? Raiding,
looking
like,
for
food.
resources.
Yeah, looking for food, looking for gasoline.
Well, see, that's where, now that is where that I would imagine would be worth a risk.
Food or the gas?
The gasoline.
Because that's a finite resource at that point, because you don't have refineries and that kind of thing.
Right. You can't produce, and then we get it from overseas. They ain't gonna send no more boats over here now.
But I mean, at that point, see, here's where my idea about a solar paneled electric car comes into play.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. The first place I'm raiding is Lowe's, and are not Lowe's, but some home improvement store that sells like solar generators. That's what I'm going for.
I don't think you would have to.
You don't think so? You don't think there's enough? Say more.
I think you would be able to find enough with the way people are putting them on their houses.
Now, take them off the houses.
I think you would be able to throw a football and find somebody with one in a certain neighborhood.
Really? Because I drive. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not.
You don't see a lot of.
You don't.
I see a few here and there, but you're right. You don't see a lot of them.
So I'm finding a solar factory.
Is this in the future? Is this tomorrow?
Well, I think it's the pandemic starts tomorrow, and this is 5 years after it.
Okay, so no.
So maybe a total of 5 to 10 years, because it doesn't happen all at once. It takes a year to wipe out the population.
A solar boom, a solar boom in the solar industry. You might be going to Lowe's or
And I mean, in terms of power, what are we powering, I guess? Probably lights. I'm assuming by this point the internet's collapsed, so you don't have really like devices and that kind of shit at that point. I'm thankful for the crates of DVDs I still have stored. Maybe powering a TV and a DVD player. Especially if it's solar,
Right.
What else power generating at that point?
I wish they would bring that show back to Colony.
The Colony?
They had it on Netflix for a while and then they took it off. But it was basically it was a reality show, but it was like about a group of people. They put like a group, I want to say like 10 people together, maybe 8. And they put them in a specific area, and it was exactly this premise. Post-apocalyptic world's over. It's up to y'all to survive. Find your home base, build it up, whatever. And like they would throw shit at them, like different shit. Like of course they would have to go out and forage for, you know, food or whatever they could find. But they would have groups of people from the show as like the gang, or like other people that were doing that as well.
Yeah.
And if they got you, they took you out the game.
Okay. But that's assuming that we devolve back to, and you and I mean, that was part of this early conversation. If resources are more, well, at some point, though, the resources wear out.
Well, see, that's the thing. I would imagine that
at least the easy resources, meaning like
right.
prepackaged, like canned good, like that kind of stuff starts to wear out eventually.
And I would imagine there is a phase, because us as at least Americans,
we're lazy. We're going to take
we're
the easy
lazy,
route.
right? We're lazy and we're greedy. So before we instantly get to the let me hunt for my food, we're going to be going for the easy pulls, you know? So you are still going to have some dumb, savage people that are going to try to take the easy shit from you.
Which is why I like your idea of being like maybe close to civilization, but off the beaten path. I like that thought.
Especially if we're dealing with a virus. Because I imagine even if the last 20% were around, you know what I'm saying, that whether it be genetically or whatever you know said, I'd imagine there's room for somebody else to get the fucking coffin.
Right, a variant or something. That
yeah, and I don't need to be around that when it happens.
All right, so 5 years after, things have calmed down, 20% of the people gone. What have you done in that first, let's say, the first 4 years when people started realizing like this was the big one and that people weren't going to survive? What are you doing in those first couple of years, or even the first couple of months where, let's say, society has started to collapse?
Relocation and fortification.
Agreed. So somewhere off, a little off grid, close enough that you can still, at this point, probably plunder resources.
Right. That's the first thing I do, is scout a location that I can, you know, move everything to. Like somebody else's shit that didn't make it type shit. So of course it would take a while to find the right one.
Yeah.
So I would probably just probably just go inchworm and go bit by bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just no backpack kind of guy. If I can bring everything and it's going to take me a few trips, then I bounce, go back, pick shit up, bounce, and then, you know, keep it moving.
Yeah, I feel like in those, like, once it starts to become clear, it's, you know, stock up on the resources that you do see. It's procure a larger vehicle so you can take and stay mobile if you need to.
Right. Right.
I almost wonder if that's the play, if it's like, I don't want to say like a U-Haul van, but like maybe a box truck. That you could almost live in and move. Like RV style. But I almost feel like that's too visible. You know?
Right, that's what I was about to say. That's kind of alarming to me. Because, I mean, you have to, once again, fortification. You have to fortify that. Because now you're in an open vehicle that bullets can go straight through.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have the means to be able to professionally do it, so you're gonna have to weld some steel plates or something on there, and it's gonna weigh it down even more. And I've never seen a fucking solar powered U-Haul.
Hey, this is ingenuity in the future.
Unless Elon makes something happen in the next 5 years while all this is going down.
I don't know. All right, so you've gathered resources, and we'll assume like food, water, or some kind of water purification. What size of crew are you moving, or are you trying to stay like single
here's
location?
The thing. I would probably, like I said, relocate and fortify. I would ride that out for a while, until I know for sure the threat had passed.
Yep.
The viral threat is
right. You're like, I ain't seen people driving around in a while. It's been a couple months since the last time I saw someone.
Once I do see that, I would be willing to, I guess, venture out for more life. Like at that point, I wouldn't necessarily be hooked or bound to that place that I had, because I know the threat had passed. So now it's just about finding others people that survive. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because when you think about it,
I feel like in those first like 4 to 5 years after, like the first couple of years after that, I don't know if I want to be in a group bigger than like 10 people, 15.
10. It depends. It depends on a few things. First and foremost,
what are the skill sets of these 10 people?
Right. First and foremost, my question is, when you get something like that, you have to relocate again, right?
Right, once you're up to that many.
Right, because you can't fit all those people in one house comfortably, even if you're like building on it and doing all kinds of shit, unless you got like enough land. But
that's where like I'm almost wondering, like, off the beaten path. Well, to your point, but if it's off the beaten path, I don't know.
If it's off the beaten path and you're building on it, it's no longer off the beaten path.
Right. That's where I'm like, can we go rural and like find, I don't know, like an elementary or a middle school, a smaller school.
Right.
Take that over, and every family or every unit kind of has their own classroom.
Right.
That gets you up to probably 20 to 30 people, which is more than I would want at that point. But relatively defensible, right? I mean, all these shooting drills that we have to do, like, it's got lockdown protocols.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that would work. But what about plumbing? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many showers are in your school?
Yeah. I mean, small high school.
Locker room.
Yeah. Communal showers, but you've got individual restrooms. Although I don't know if anything's communal anymore in schools.
Right. How does that work now?
Individual shower stalls.
They probably do have that, huh? They probably do have that.
That's why I think, like, taking over a building like that.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean,
I was just trying to think if there's anything, either that or a hospital.
Yeah. Although hospitals makes me nervous because that's where the virus is probably the most heavily concentrated.
That's possible, but I would also imagine it'd be dead by that much time passed.
True. I think the reason why I gravitated towards a small school is, yes, it needs maintenance, but it has everything you need. Or I mean, or to your point, it's a house. But if you go any bigger than that, like, maintenance becomes a concern.
Right.
And even with a school, maintenance might be a concern.
Yeah, the hospital, I would imagine, would be an issue as well, just because it's too big.
Yeah.
And then when you think about something like you said, like solar, when you're thinking about solar power, there's not enough surface area to
power something that big.
Right. At least the school's usually built out wide instead of high, so you can put it over the places that people occupy.
Yeah. No, I like that thought. Why don't more schools have solar power? Sorry.
I don't know. You ain't giving these kids central air and some of these motherfuckers. You might as well try for.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to pay for central air. All right, put a solar power or put a solar farm on top of it and give that money, or use that to fund your electricity.
Listen. No, I think that's a good idea. And then if you was all Columbus, like, public that did it, you would probably end up making money.
That's what I'm saying. That whole, you make enough electricity to give it back to the grid.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You would probably end up making money.
Right. We should be running schools. They got all right.
Wrong motherfuckers on the job.
So we've got a defensible school, and we've started gathering people. What are the rules of this community? Are there rules? Are there laws? What kind of government? What kind of decision making are we making?
I mean, I feel like more so than laws, just like, morality rules.
Agreed.
But other than that, I'm not really pressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not.
Live your life.
Right. But if you're smoking hard drugs, step outside.
Go down in the basement.
Right. I mean, I hate to say it, but you can't smell heroin. So if you're doing that in your room, you're doing that in your room. I don't know how you're finding it. You got a mean ass plug. But yeah, I just use that as an example.
Yeah.
Of no law specific. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do.
As long as you're not introducing harm to someone else.
Right.
And I think that's like the golden rule. Is you cause noise or you hurt someone else. That's the only or someone else in this community.
I don't even know if I'm too upset about noise.
No, because conflict can be healthy.
Yeah, I'm not even too upset about noise. You know what I mean? Like, and even if you mean that in the literal term of noise, like, bro, you loud. That's fine.
Right.
We just got to relocate you down at that other end back there that we're not really in like that.
Yeah.
That's about to be your new spot.
But no, I meant like causing drama.
Right. I'm not. It depends on what
it is.
Yeah. But if it's just, little bullshit, we just got to deal with the little bullshit. I'm not going.
All All right, so what are the jobs in this community that we've established? I mean, obviously you've got your hunter gatherers and
I would
chefs. Hi,
also
Amanda.
your chefs. I mean, but I don't think that that's just a job.
I mean, it depends if you're feeding the whole community. We doing family
Yeah.
style every night, or is everybody
Yeah.
fending for themselves?
I agree, but I also feel like everybody needs to pitch in. You know what I mean?
Well, that's where I'm like, so what are the different jobs of our community of like 20 to 30 people?
So, of course, your hunters, your gatherers. I would say your scouts. You know that
I almost
venture
feel like
out.
I feel like your scouts and your gatherers are probably the same.
Well, it depends on what you're scouting, I suppose.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
Do off my engineers.
Engineers,
I would
maintenance.
definitely have the engineers, the people that could improve the situation.
Kind of put engineers, mechanics, maintenance.
Yeah, that
all in the
all
same.
I kind of put that all in one thing there. I would probably have a few guards. How many people did we say? 30?
20 to 30, somewhere in there. So if we assume, let's call it, to feed 30 people, you probably need 5 plus hunters. 5 and 5 hunters, 5 gatherers.
Right.
And if you're going to start like growing your own food, you probably need at least 2 to 4 on that.
Uh-huh.
All right, so that's half. To your point, you probably have 2 or 3 maintenance engineer type folks. Folks that got to learn it if they don't already know it.
All right. You need like a nurse, doctor. But
Somebody
that's
who's on, like,
also
aid.
somebody that I feel like can have multiple positions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the cook. I can't just have you be a cook alone because other shit needs to be done.
True.
So you need to be gathering or doing something else as well.
Well, I almost feel like at that point they're part of the farm to table.
Right. That makes sense. That's like tending the garden. Yep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that still leaves us with probably 10 people.
And then you probably need a teacher.
Okay. I like it.
Let me think. Does the mechanic build shit too?
Maybe. Or just maintains what we have at that point.
Okay.
I think the one that gets interesting is like heating and cooling. Ohio winters get cold unless we're not in Ohio anymore.
Right.
Move southwest, I guess.
But I don't really see that as an issue, not a big issue. Because if you're also putting solar up, it's not shit to punch a hole in the ceiling and run a coal furnace or like a wood stove in each room.
Well, and depending on the school, there might be a coal burning furnace like in the infrastructure anyways that was replaced by a HVAC system.
Really?
Some of those older buildings, absolutely.
Yeah, that's not I don't really see that as a hard fix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just punch a little hole in the ceiling and run a tube down through that. Seal it back up. You good to go. Just sleep close to the fire. Don't sleep too close.
Right.
You know? Keep them blankets tucked in, but move your beds in the winter. That's all I can say. Shit.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right.
Either that or do like a what do you call it? Like a camp situation in the winter.
Yeah.
You know, like where everybody
goes to the gymnasium where we've got like a
sleeps
bonfire
in the
going.
auditorium and we shut the doors and have a few
shut the doors, open
there.
the windows, and let the smoke
that
rise.
way it's a lot of heat in there. Do something like that, but I don't think shit like that would be that. Them is easy fixes.
Yeah.
Especially when you got, what we say, 5 scouts. Go on down there and check out some at home and grab some blankets if you see them there. We need as many blankets as you can find. We need some drivers.
Drivers, okay.
Yeah, because I imagine the drivers would drop the scouts, hunters, and gatherers off at the locations they wanted to. And then they would go do their whatever they did, and then come on the way back, you meet them at the same location.
Yeah. I like it. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else too. I mean, I kind of put the guards in the same category as like the kind of like your defense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Agreed.
Even if you only have 3 to 4 guards on duty, that 5th guard is going to have to be training some more.
Yeah. Well, we said first aid. We said basically food. We said maintenance. Maintenance mechanics.
We need a tech.
Something tech related.
Something that can, build like radios and.
Or at least maintain equipment like that.
Right, communications and see what we can't find to get you, shit like that.
Go rob a police station, get the CB radios.
Well, it's not robbing if
they're all gone. Fair. Because we do want to maintain communication where we can. I agree with that.
In the apocalypse, we call it visiting.
Borrowing.
Let's go visit this police station. And if we see resources, finders keepers.
All right. So we've got our jobs, our assignments.
Have they done that yet? Have they done an apocalypse comedy show?
I mean, Zombieland kind of was.
That was a movie, though.
You mean a show?
And it's a movie franchise that I love, by the way.
With Columbus, Ohio?
I love it. I don't like the representation, but y'all just like the second one wasn't as good, but I think they should give us one more. But go ahead. Trilogy. What was you saying?
All right, so we've established our little community. How are decisions made? How are jobs assigned? Is it volunteer? Like, what if somebody doesn't want to do something? They can't stay, right?
Yeah, if you don't work, you don't eat.
I'm with that.
How are jobs assigned? I mean, I would imagine in the perfect world, they would be assigned based on
Skill set.
yeah, but I know that doesn't always happen. So as you brought in new people, it would be based off of necessity.
All right, who's determining what necessity is at that point?
I mean, I would imagine.
What's your decision-making framework?
I mean, I would imagine if I'm involved at all, I'm going to be one of the top, people. Now, I'm not.
You just putting yourself at the top. Just putting yourself at the top.
I'm not dictating anything because I believe in, governed by committee. So I would have, camp vote or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And then that doesn't mean it's, law because the majority voted it. And then the committee decides based on camp vote.
Okay. I'm almost wondering if it becomes representational in the sense of, let's say this group of 30 people is, I don't know, call it 5 to 6 like family units, or 7 or 8 family units and a couple of like solo people.
Right.
Maybe each family unit picks a representative that sits on the council.
Right. The council or whatever that is would have to be evenly distributed.
Yeah.
In whatever way that was. But we all know the will of the people isn't always good for the overall goal of the. That's why I say the committee will then decide based on.
So you have true democracy in terms of informing, but then it's committee decision.
Right. And I would even take it as far as just to keep the peace. If the committee ruled against the overall majority, they would have to come up with a reasoning to then bring back that was acceptable to the people.
Yeah.
Not agreeable,
but acceptable.
Right.
Well, maybe that's one of the tenets is if you disagree with the committee, you can voice your opinion, but eventually, like, you either choose to accept it or you move out. You move on.
Right. Because at the end of the day, it's about moving forward. It's about the progress, and sometimes that's uncomfortable.
Right. No, agree with that completely. All right, I'm going to hit the chat real quick just because there's a ton. Let's see. Superfan, or actually the REIT starting off with Come to the Island. Superfan, Amanda in there with We're Storming the Zoo. That's our defensible position. I'm going to go get me a pet tiger. Let's go. It can't go wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, she's trying to be, what's the name of the nigga with the dreads in Walking Dead? Ezekiel. That's Ezekiel.
The king.
Superfan. Right.
My godmother chiming in when she wants to go to Ground Zero and we can take the RV. Cool.
Ground Zero.
Yeah, where it all broke out. Hey, sometimes what's the line from Lord of the Rings? The closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm.
That's right. But she ain't even given it enough time to become a tourist attraction. She already trying to head back.
Supervan chiming in with food service director is the title we were looking for. Your head chef is also in charge of saying what they need from a hunter-gatherer in the farm.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not against that. You just gotta have other responsibilities.
Well, but if they're directing traffic, I actually don't hate that idea. I'm imagining Amanda sitting out there as Red from
Now
Orange
you
is the
also
New
have
Black.
to be you also have to be inventory and
Right. But I would say somebody that's been a chef at any kind of operation knows inventory and knows how to track inventory.
I
and that kind of
guarantee
stuff.
that.
And then she chimed in again with there should also be time allocated to everyone getting basic knowledge of each respective job. I don't hate that.
That's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
That is a great idea.
So that you have appreciation for it, if nothing else. Or
Right.
or you do it like we do with like our we call it ICE, and I'm trying to remember what it stands for. It's
Don't
like,
call it ICE.
No, I'm not calling it that, but like that's what we call it at work. Where
Yeah, don't call it that.
interns get like a rotation at each in like 6 different areas. All right, new people to the community. They shadow each job, and then we figure out which one's best for them. No, you don't like that?
This
All
is
right.
the same motherfuckers that what was the red
red, amber, green.
Yeah. But call it ICE. What if you got a Hispanic person that
They're
got
gonna be
hired
offended.
there who has a bad experience,
I hear you.
and you got them going through ICE to figure out what their best position would be.
I mean, that would assume that we hired. Never mind.
Right.
Oh shit.
But I think that's a great idea though. But from there, I mean, you already know what it is. It's just about development. Then what I would do once we had a good, firm understanding and coordination there is I would try to find somewhere else closer, and I would try to work that up as well.
Like establish trade or establish.
Right. Now y'all understand how this needs to go. I'm leaving here to go here. Y'all keep this up and running. We'll be back and forth, but we need to start,
expanding,
filling some areas. And that's how you do that. And that's how you tell.
Or you take a group of people that are getting stir crazy because people will, and say, all right, well then go establish a similar community. 10 miles away, 20 miles away, whatever it ends up being.
That's exactly how I play that.
All right, I like it. And what's the goal of recreating that society at that point? Just trying to rebuild the human race? More collaboration and partnership?
I don't even think it would be so much about rebuilding the human race, because clearly that happened for a reason. Right? So I'm not in a rush to build Jacob's ladder all over again.
Right.
I just want to make it comfortable for those that
are
still around that may not, see a way themselves.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm with you. All right. So the fools have recreated society.
Yeah, I think so. I just think we've overcomplicated things.
I agree, and that was really part of my thought with all of this is how do we get back to basics almost.
Right. Yeah, I think we've overcomplicated things, and I think that there are levels to everything. And I think the rules should change as you enter the games. Yeah. But I don't think everybody should automatically be entered in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we're due for a reset one way or another. I just, it's probably takes post-apocalyptics to do it.
I'm telling you, I think it's sooner than later. 'Cause shit getting crazy. It's getting hard to live.
Inflation is out of control right
It's
now.
getting hard to live.
Like, I was doing it more out of just curiosity at this point, but I was looking at vehicles. And I'm like, what I have right now would cost me 10 grand more than what it cost me 3 years ago. Like, this shit is nuts. And it's at every level. It's the same way at, like, the grocery store and shit.
Right, and they ain't paying you no more.
Right.
Raise minimum wage. You should have been did that, bitches.
Right.
But how is that helping anybody else?
It's not, because all it's done is, corporate greed and inflation. Like, they raise the minimum wage, but then we have supply chain issues, and so the price of everything goes up, and so people don't even see the benefit of a raised minimum wage.
Right.
And the excuse is supply chain issues, but we all know it's corporate greed. Like, that's what it is.
Are you trying to incite an apocalypse?
Burn this motherfucker to the ground. Start over.
Listen, fuck it.
Press the, you got to hold the reset button. No, you got to hold the power button, press the, no, it's hold the reset button, press the power.
Listen, we got to do something quick.
Blow in the cartridge, plug it back in.
Because motherfuckers' pockets is dwindling.
No doubt.
And to bring it full circle, we talked about motherfuckers that robbed for a can of food. Let it get a little rougher out there.
Absolutely.
Motherfuckers is gonna be surprised what people is willing to do. They was just killing each other over a Popeye's chicken sandwich. So imagine what a motherfucker do for a can of peaches if they ain't ate in 4 days.
No doubt.
At that point,
it doesn't have to be that way.
that's another thing I would get. And I would also, not only would I get, but I would also designate a job. So I would need 6 guards.
Okay.
And I would have one in the lab stamping bullets all day.
That's where they tried to get to in Walking Dead, and I feel like it never got that far.
They try to get the bullet press.
Mm-hmm. Bullet factory.
Well, I mean, the factory is, it's not hard to get a press. Presses aren't that hard, but you got to have the casings and all that. So that's what I'm saying. That's what the scouts are for. Scouts got to go. You got to find casings, pick up all the casings. You see all that. We need all that. That's why somebody would have to be in charge of inventory. And I don't know if I would want to break it down per category.
Yeah.
Like the chef is in charge of the kitchen. The guard is in charge of the weapon. I need one person in charge of inventory. That way they can send out the orders to the gatherers and the scouts. If you see this, this, and this is what we're low on.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, is that like committee chairs or whatever for different areas?
Right.
You got one for food and wellness. You've got one for maintenance and defense.
Right. I'm sure you could go into Vance's and you could probably find 50 gun stamper machines just in there. So I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be a lot of people thinking like that to be grabbing them.
Yeah.
They're going to be grabbing the guns.
Right.
I need the stamp. I need the stamper.
No, that makes sense. So that's one of the things you're picking up when you
hell yeah.
during the first year where shit's going to hell.
Hell yeah, we don't know. People might act a plumb dumb fool, and we might be going through bullets.
That's true.
We at least need to be able to remake them.
No disagreement.
Tell everybody shooting, watch your step, please. If you can avoid stepping on shells, please do so. We need them. You know, that's why the gun ranges say you can only shoot brass bullets.
Yeah.
Because that's all they do. They take the shells and they,
Restamp
restamp them. Then they sell those boxes in the range, like for range only shooting.
Makes sense.
Shit.
It's recycling.
That's a fucking genius. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but that's a genius idea for the simple fact that you can charge your range bullets whatever you want to charge.
Right.
You know, that box may be made by that brand. That brand says they want this much off of there, so don't sell my product for more than this. You go to the range and it's a shortage on bullets, you may pay $50 for that box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, that shit crazy. So the stamp is a must.
What are we doing for entertainment in this life?
Well, I'd imagine that there's an auditorium. I would imagine that, you can still find like bullshit, like projector screens and shit.
Yeah.
They probably already have one in there.
Yep. You've got a library probably.
Right. So I would connect the DVD, player to it. Have
we doing movie nights.
popcorn, lock in movie nights. Bring your popcorn and your palette, and we about to watch movies till we pass out in here.
I like it.
We would have to have once you what's the word I'm looking for? Like ventured out, like how you like got another school down the block from that one, and so on and so forth. You have to have like a biannual competition.
Okay. We're bringing back the Olympics.
Yeah, like whether it be capture the flag and all that bullshit and relay races and a field day for the different communities.
Feats of strength.
Uh-huh. You gotta do all that. You would have to do that more than twice a year, actually, because I would imagine that the monotony of the day-to-day would almost call for that, like once a week, twice a month type.
We got pickup games happening.
like all that.
Now, do you want to waste resources doing that, or are we walking?
I honestly think it depends on how close the schools are to each other. I think because you got to understand, like you said, the streets aren't being used like that anymore.
Yeah.
So if you have 3 schools in proximity, we don't even have to do it at any of the school locations.
Right.
We could all meet in the middle of the triangle there, and that's the venue for these events.
That's the venue for those events and cross community council meetings.
Right, exactly.
I like it.
Shit like that. How would you make keys?
I mean,
you need a key making machine. That's something else I would do.
Either that or you have like the quick set locks that you can change how they're keyed on an instant on basically any key that fits that set.
Right. But they usually only come with 2 keys in the
All right, so we stealing a key making machine from Lowe's.
Right. Okay. So we need a little bullet stamper and a key maker.
All right. I am the key maker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the key master and the gatekeeper.
I don't know. I think we're ready.
Let's do it. Blow it up. Oh, man. All right. Anything else? Anything else we need for our society? Look into the chat. Anybody have anything out there?
Trying to think. What else would we need?
Do we celebrate any holidays?
I mean, I would imagine that we would still celebrate all of the major holidays here.
Is 4th of July
Like-
still a holiday?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, for anybody there that would want to celebrate it, but I would imagine.
I almost think we just call it Founders Day, and it happens when the day that like we've moved into this new community.
That's what I was more so thinking, is that would take the place of
4th of July. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think you probably still do Christmas. Maybe it's just more secular.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, and it doesn't even. And that's what I'm saying. Christmas is still Christmas, but Thanksgiving doesn't even have to still be Thanksgiving, but just a day that we all get together and.
It's like a harvest.
You know,
It's just it
right.
is what it is. It's the end of season harvest celebration.
Right, so we go back to that.
Need something in the winter, like February, March. Maybe that's where we
Valentine's Day's over.
move. I agree.
I don't know. It depends on the community, I would think,
Yeah,
what that would be, because you would have to have holidays
I feel like you
geared
need, like,
around
one-
your
you need, like,
specific
one a quarter.
1 a quarter.
Yeah, like every 2 to 3 months, you've got to have one. Give people something to look forward to.
Right. No, I agree. I would say. How many? Yeah, 3. Yeah, 3 months. Once every 3 isn't bad.
And that's where you center like the cross community, like big events or festivals
Right.
or
Right. Because everything can't be a competition, because you don't want to. You don't want to. At the end of the day, you still want the
you still want
family,
the
the
community.
camaraderie.
Yeah,
And if you're always competing, you get that edge,
Yeah.
like
Yep, I agree. Somebody gets
But,
salty.
right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we need it. What else would we need? Mannequins.
Mannequins just established throughout the way.
Yeah, I need mannequins. I need you to take all the mannequins.
What you doing, Fred?
Yep. Put them in guard uniforms. And we put them up around certain areas that you can see from afar.
On
you
the
know?
roof, on the roof of the school.
But that one, we wouldn't need a full mannequin. We would just need a
Just the top half.
cosmetology head and just lean it up against a broomstick with a broken binocular. Yeah.
I think that's what we need. I think we need those the binoculars that take a quarter. Need those all around the roof.
Right. See, that's what the carpenter's for.
Yeah.
Because I would want a crow's nest built on each corner. You know what I'm saying? And one of the guards has to, be up in the crow's nest and just watch. You don't got to be up there all day, but you got to be close enough to it that
to
if
see whatever roadways are closed.
Right, at every 15-minute mark, go up there and check with your little riverside binoculars.
Yeah.
Then go back to your duties.
I like it.
I could run some shit.
So we got hunters, gatherers, maintenance.
Yeah, I don't know what else you would need.
Guards.
I don't know what else you would need.
Yeah, I don't know. And then it comes down to like, what are the goals of the community at any given point? Are we building out farmland? Are we building up defenses? Are we
that's
adding creature comforts?
Well, I feel like that should.
A lot of that falls to the gatherers, I would imagine, in a lot of cases. And maintenance.
I mean, I feel like that should be taking place at all times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that I don't know that I would focus on any one thing at one moment.
Well, maybe that's the job of like the committee chair. Like, almost, what are your goals for your term or whatever? Because you got to have somebody who's thinking about like future state.
Right. Right, but I feel like that's a
like area by area thing.
Right. You know what I mean?
See, my thing is I don't know that the doers are always the best in terms of the forward thinkers. Like, if I'm thinking like maintenance, I mean, engineers maybe, but like their focus is more on fixing like what needs to be fixed right now. How do you have somebody that's more forward looking?
Let's see if we have what we say 5.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where we landed, was 5.
If we have 5 people on maintenance, then we put 1 in each category. And some of them aren't needed, right? Like, well, I guess, did we decide whether maintenance is carpenters as well?
I don't know that we delineated.
Because my whole thing is maintenance, of course, would be good for fortification.
Sure.
They're not going to be good for farming and food. That would be more woodwork and...
Well, unless they're thinking like irrigation.
Okay.
But even then, to your point, like, it's upkeep of that system once it's built.
Right. Yeah, that's too far ahead.
Yeah.
That's too far ahead.
But I almost feel like if you don't start thinking about that early on, you're setting yourself up for failure down the road. Like,
no,
you don't want to be starting that stuff once your nearby pillaging resources have run out.
Well, see, that's the thing. Those things are... I guess the reason why I don't even think about those things is because that's the first thing on my mind when looking at the space.
Yeah.
You know, what can we do to fortify this area? Do we have area to build on it? And is there space for growing crops?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I like the idea of a school, because usually the backyard, but like the the recess area, the grounds, usually there's a portion of it that's fenced in, and I'm thinking that's where you initially build the farm. Especially if you're keeping it to a community of like 20 to 30 people.
Right.
And if we're talking like a rural school, then maybe that's a bigger area too.
I mean, you could damn near what's it called? Do the football field.
Right.
Turn the whole football field to a farm.
Absolutely. Problem is, those are all fucking turf now.
Not all of them. I would honestly think the problem with that would be you would have too much.
Yeah.
You couldn't store all that.
I mean, yeah.
You would probably only need 30 yards, really.
Well, it depends.
And then if we're thinking across the 40, that's still a lot. Even 30 yards with the 40 across is a lot for a 30 person.
Depends what you're growing, but yeah.
But you would also have to house animals, I would imagine, you know?
True.
You need a chicken coop. If we're eating the chicken and cattle or whatever, you have to have pens for them.
Yep.
Yeah, so the football field, that would be the best place.
There you go. I like it. All right. Anything else we got on this?
No, I think we cracked this case, Scooby-Doo.
All right. Well, we are at about the 90-minute mark. You got anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Nope, nothing on the mind.
Nothing on the mind?
Nothing on it.
All right.
Nothing on it.
Well, take us out then, sir.
Of course, love everybody. Like, subscribe, share. Tell a friend, As I say, tell them to troll. What is it? Find this also, or don't find this. I don't know. What's the do
us a favor, like, share, subscribe, download, all those good things, comment, rate us, all that fun stuff. Is there another one that you were thinking?
I don't know. I thought I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
And with that, peace out, fools.
All right.